Discovery, go at throttle up. 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 Discovery, go at throttle up.
You don't like goat music? You don't like goat music? Huh. Goat music. I like it. No. Okay. No. All right. This doesn't. No, that doesn't do anything to it. How about this? If you know, then you know. Like that? If you know, then you know. If you don't know, well, now you know. Chat. Yep. Mm-hmm. La Villa Strangiata. Oh. I heard the patch is releasing 2 days before the day after tomorrow. Mother of God. Did I hear a Rush reference? Exit the Warrior, today's Tom Soy. Oh, they, Rush released a remastered music video of Countdown, by the way, for the Space Shuttle. For the, anniversary of STS-1. You guys hear YYZ now? Please put the Lonely Man on Inferno back on. No. 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 Starship static fire today? No. They're not gonna static fire it. They're guys with all the canceled road closures and stuff. I'm thinking they're just gonna send it on the 17th. Now play Cliffs of Dover? I don't play Cliffs of Dover. I don't know what you're talking about. My girl walked in and asked if I was playing YYZ while you hum. What time on the 17th is the launch? How the hell should I know? You're the rocket nerd? Sometime between 0000 and 2359. Yep. Insider launch details? Oh, God. Hey, no. No. I know nothing. What's up, man? How you doing? I know nothing. You finally saved Jeb from orbit. Took me a month, but finally got the rendezvous right. Yes. Yeah, Ninth, I don't know. I don't know, dude. So I'd like to add that the 17th is probably a gut. That's my gut feeling. I think they're going to shoot for the 17th.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
I don't want a shuttle body pillow, Creeper. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need it. No, take it. I don't need it. I don't need that. EJ was secretly flown to Amsterdam to preview the Starship launch. I was? Elon will delay to 420. Maybe. Oh God, no, Hellfish, no. It's so not right. Someone's gonna send you one now, you know that, right? Alright. So I'm not entirely sure why they unstacked Starship last night, but they did. They're definitely doing something to it. I just don't know what it is. When is the patch time? Doom, last time the patch released in the early afternoon, so I figure we'll just fire up some space news and talk about rockets until, you know, for the time being and see what happens. Those guys up there look like they're working on the catch arms. I thought it was to install the flight termination system. Is that what it was, Ordon? FTS unsafing. Oh. Rumor has it is that they took it down for the installation of the termination system. Wait, there's a patch today. There is a patch today. April 12th, Yuri's night. Great day for a patch for Kerbal Space Program. April 12th is a significant day in spaceflight history. First and foremost, April 12th, 1961, first human went into space, Yuri Gagarin, on the Vostok 1 mission. That's pretty neat. And secondly, April 12th, 1981, first flight of the space shuttle. Very nice. Yep, great day for a patch. Great day for a patch. Oh, hi, that's a good-looking show. Oh, thanks, Finn. What time is the patch releasing? The last one released in the early morning, dude. Or early afternoon, dude. So it was like 2 o'clock, I think. So we're just going to chill. Too bad no SpaceX launch. Meh. It happens. I mean, Hillness, that's when it was last time, dude. So I don't know. We'll see. Mission to Eve scrubbed. I don't know how you possibly could have misconstrued that from what I said, Jim, but, you know, that's good. Gold star for you. I remember April 12, 1981, we watched the launch at 4 a.m. on my parents' black and white TV. Yeah, man. Think this will work? What's that, Ricky? Oh, Stokes rocket. Yeah, maybe. Ricky, that idea is way out there. But if you go watch Tim Dodd's video about Stoke, the guy that designed the B4 is the guy running that company. So what I'm trying to tell you is, you know, they're a newer company and they have a really far-fetched idea, but there's some real talent behind that technology. So, I mean, the B4 is not exactly a simple engine. RDG, I think they're going to send it on, my gut's telling me Monday. Excited for the Ariane 5 launch. We need to let the juice out. Yes. Why is Starship unmounted from Falcon Heavy? Tigris, from what I understand, Starship unmounted from Falcon Heavy. Tasty. Unmounted from Super Heavy. Okay, yeah. It's barely afternoon. Yeah, but it's midnight in Japan. Cheers. So, and contrary to what some folks, who says anything bad about the BE4, Vulcan? Why would people say bad things about the BE4? If someone said that the BE4 is a bad engine, that is a really, 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 really easy way to tell that that person has no idea what they're saying. They don't know what they're talking about. So why should we entertain their opinions? You know? You don't invite the janitor in for neuroscience, right? I mean, maybe, if it's Good Will Hunting, you know? What did I say? What did I say you'd be in here regurgitating Gordon Wood? But you forgot about Vickers. What, are you going to come in here and embarrass my friend? Yeah, Wood drastically underestimates the early idea of colonial barbaric modalities or whatever he said. Yeah, you gonna plagiarize the whole thing? But yes, Vulcan, you are indeed correct. The B4 is it is a chonker of a motor. Something hasn't flown yet. The Aerospike never flew. Is it a bad motor? The RS-2200, was that a bad engine? Nah, son. You sound like the Departed guy. Yeah, that's kind of yeah. Vulcan, what I'm trying to say is in a very nice way, frick those people. Yeah. Them. You know what I'm saying? They know nothing. So yeah. I hope that stoke works, dude. Stig, what's going on, bro? Ooh. Give me 1 second. No? Bum, bum. Bum, bum. Bum, bum. Bum, bum. Please no bongos? It ain't no bongo. Yeah, see? That has a 2.5 collector on it. That's what I need. The other one is a little bit too small, but this one will work just fine. And whoever welded this did a pretty good job. It's pretty well done. Pretty well done for what it is. Considering how much this cost, it's actually really not bad. There is some spatter here and there, but I don't think I could do any better, so this is good. These are not 1 3/4 primaries. I think they're, I think these are, actually, yeah, they might be 1 3/4. I have to go look. But either way, yeah, so this has the right collector on it. This is not 225. This is a better. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. The block huggers, which are very nice. Gotta lay them dimes, boy. That's right. Yeah, like I said, this. Yeah, these are wicked, and they have the right. They have the 2.5 tube, which is good. Did you test it? So the collector that they sent has the right bracket, but it's not exactly the right pipe that I need. But I can combine that with the 3.5, the 3 to 2.5 MagnaFlows that I have, and we can make a good seal, which is good. I'll basically take the 3.5s. I'll take the 3s, the 3 to 2.5 adapter. I got to drill some holes in it. Half of a hole, basically. So I can get the bolts through. And then what I'm going to do, Stig, is do the opposite of what the reducer is. I'm going to put some bolts through here, and we're going to tighten it down, and we'll clamp it. And it'll end up getting us a good seal. Yeah, I already tested it. I haven't done it yet, but I've already tested it. So that should do it. Yep. But see, this has the right. Yeah, it's not 225. This is 2.5 out, which is what I needed. So this is yeah, these are good, man. They're really nice. It gave me enough parts to do what I need to do. You should make a whole machine shop in the garage, fab out every part you need. Should? I agree, Mayor. I'm working on it. Yeah, no, I'm working on it. My dad does a lot of machining, so I should be able to get some nice tools. Headers are a pain in the butt to weld. The rest of the exhaust isn't bad. I'm going to clamp it for now, NoWrath, and then probably take it to a welding shop. But, Dentat, you retired last week. I'm going to start work on your uncle's 56 Chevy Bel Air that I own now. Restoration project incoming. Nice, dude. Here, let me show you. Actually, you can't see it. So there's the horizontals right here that go across the bed. I got those painted today. And the e-brake cable should be coming soon. So we can finish the rear end. Let me check. Man, Summit really gets stuff out quick. I can't believe how fast these got here. Let's take a look. Let's see when these get here. In the meantime, enjoy the view. South Padre Island. Very nice. The brake lines and the cables will be here tomorrow. They are currently in Pennsylvania. They're in Southampton, Pennsylvania. Southampton Township. Cool. They'll be here tomorrow. You going to watch the Juice launch tomorrow? It's going to be early, Hiccup. So yeah, absolutely. Ooh, you're going to go intercept them? Summit's great, NoWrath. Yeah, beautiful project. I've been looking forward to this project for 15 years. Dude, Dentat, like, dude, I don't know what it is. Like, it's just getting in at rusty, crappy, junky stuff and fixing it, man. Like, you could call me like a huge stereotype as much as you want. You'd probably be like 100% right. Like, I don't know. That's like, I'm not trying to be like Mr. Manly Man over here, but dude, I love taking things apart and fixing them and putting them back together. It's like candy for me. It's freaking candy. Candy for my brain, man. What do we got? 17th, Uselicium. I'm pretty sure, dude. Pretty sure we got it 17. Tomorrow's going to be a long stream day. Yep. Yeah, Nova, and if those parts come in, then, you know, we'll play Kerbal. We'll get that Eve challenge figured out, right? We'll get the Eve challenge figured out, and then if I get the e-brake stuff and the brake lines in, we'll put that stuff in, and then, yeah, I'll mount the painted bed pieces. And, yeah, dude, it should be good. Should be real good. I'm really hoping it happens. I'll be here on stream watching you. SpaceX tweet. Dude. Look at that freaking monster. On a side note, guys, well, the paint has been drying on certain parts on the truck. I got the Mustang. I took the Mustang out. I think it's good. I think we're in the clear from the white stuff. Just knock on wood, but I think we're in the clear. And SpaceX just tweeted some pictures. We'll be checking that in a moment. Was there concern? No, Hillness, it was just bottled up for the winter. So, you know, I always worry when I leave a little bit of gas inside of a car's fuel system. It's apparently not that big of a deal because port fuel injection on the Mustang, like the fuel injection system did not care. So I hooked the battery up, jumped it, and then I put a battery pack on the battery, charged it up a little bit, and then things started right up. So I changed the oil, and dude, it held air in the tires all winter, which is great. Brakes are good. Everything's good. I did find something that's a little bit of concern, though. The driver's side footwell was wet. Not cool. Not cool. I think what's going on is the cowl gets full of brush, and when the cowl gets full of brush, it leaks through the HVAC system into the car. But it's not that big of a deal. I shop vacked it all out. And when I did take it for a test drive, I did hear water sloshing around underneath the dash, so I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I had to do that when I first bought the car anyway. I'm pretty sure that's why somebody traded it in. Hey, since we're talking space news, you read about Endoya spaceport in Norway and their plans? Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course, Robert. I know all about that. Yeah, they want to do polar launches out of Endoya. Now, personally, we're talking Norwegian launch sites. I think Svalbard is cooler, but it's really hard to get stuff up there. Endoya is a little bit better. I wonder if Chris G has access to the SpaceX Twitter account. They seem more NSF-like now. It's possible, dude. It's possible. It says on his Twitter profile, internal communications at SpaceX, and I have no idea what that means. Bruh. Yeah. I want to go watch one day. I'm in the South, so it's a bit of a ride. Yeah. Plugged cowl drains, make sure to clear those or rust will be your friend. Clean them. Yeah. That's the problem with the Mustang Smile for the S197 chassis. Yeah, all the crap gets plugged up. It happened in the doors too. I have to drain the damn doors from time to time. And then you should see all the crap that comes out of there. All right. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was, which is not bad. But also, I'm just sitting here looking at these damn friggin' oofta. Oh my god. Did you get that memo? Jeez, man. You've heard of cable management with computers, guys, but have you heard of hydraulic line management and cable management on top of that? That's pretty neat. How is this not going to get roasted by a rocket landing next to it? I'm not sure. But then again, all the wiring seems to be wrapped in that red stuff, so maybe that's flame retardant material. It won't. That would suck. Possibly open the drain holes up a little bit to drain better. The drain holes are fine, Hellfish. They're like probably about a ½ inch by an inch. It's like an oval almost. And they have plugs. You just take the plug out and it drains everything. Yeah. Yeah, the car came with plugs, and you got to do that. It's the reason why the doors fill up with water is because of the seals. The seals for the window, if they're old, got to replace them. But, So flight termination system is being armed today. I would say that that's what's going on, dudes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Oh hell yeah. Dude, what a freaking chunker of a vehicle. How do they protect the cables in the foundries? Don't know. That's actually a really good question. I have no idea. Doozin'. Doors are designed to get wet. That's why they have drains. What? When did they start doing that? No, I know what you mean. Space TFRs. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is... So we have a temporary flight restriction for a landing near Clearwater. I was about to say Clearwater. Okay. Clearwater. Clearwater, Florida, next to St. Petersburg and Bradenton. I'm quite fond of Bradenton. There is some pretty cool stuff there. The Boston is showing... Dude, as I get older, it's harder to... When I was younger, it was very easy to just talk like this the entire time. Like, I made that a thing.
Discovery, go and throttle
to
up.
kick it. Like, I don't have that thick of an accent to begin with. Like, I made it a thing to not talk like that on stream because I thought it would be distracting. It's not... Nowadays, it doesn't really matter, but... But also, I slip up a lot lately. I don't know why. I blame living down in Cape Cod and on basically the tail end of the South Shore. Everyone talks like that down here. Everyone. When you're off stream, how do you talk? Accent or not? Yeah. Ian, basically like this, but it's there. It's just a hint. A hint. It's like LaCroix has a hint of flavor. All right? There's a hint of it there. You hear my dad talk though? Oh. My dad grew up on the South Shore. He's from freaking Quincy, man. He sounds like the movies. You're born and raised in Sarasota. I'm quite fond of that area as well. I love Central Florida, Hibbit. It's the only other place in the U.S. that I've ever chosen to call home. Central Florida's dope. No one's going to change my mind. They have race cars and rockets. And old people. Nope. That's not the right part of Florida. The old people are further south. All the old people are kind of halfway between South Florida and Central Florida. Yeah. And then up north, you go north of Central Florida. That's where Florida Man lives. We don't go there. 'Tis a silly place. Little place called Disney World, too. I'm quite fond of that place, Chris. And crippling poverty. I didn't see that much when I lived down there, but at least the weather's nice. It's only a model. You built a castle. They said you couldn't build a launch pad in a swamp. But I built it anyway. It didn't fall into the swamp because it had a proper EIR done. Ha ha! Boom, baby. You forgot someplace called the Cape. W, what else could I have possibly meant when I said they got race cars and rockets? What else could that mean? Is there another place that they launch rockets from in Central Florida other than the Cape? Pocket rockets? I'm sure they got plenty of that. You're talking about model rockets, right? Like a little rocket motor that can fit in your pocket. This is what you're talking about, right? You wouldn't dare bring up anything inappropriate on this stream, would you? Pocket sand! All right. So Florida Man lives near Jacksonville? Florida Man is northern Florida. Yeah, absolutely. Why do you just have those right there? You don't just keep loaded rocket engines on your desk? Don't forget that they have the Florida Man Flotilla. I still think that was cool, Green, with the exception of going near the capsule. That I still think that was cool. I mean, you know, I get it, the Rule 8 connotations there. Yeah, obviously, duh.
Discovery,
But
throttle up.
you got to remember that, like, dude, there was like 100 boats out there. 100 boats went 40 miles out into the ocean to see the capsule land. I still think that's really cool. Like, I get it. Like, once again, the Rule 8 stuff, take it or leave it, you know, whatever. But it's still cool, man. Like, people are hyped about space, and that kind of shows that it doesn't really matter where you come from. Everyone likes space, you know? That made me happy in some weird way. Hey, demo's 96 months. That's 8 years. I think my streak reset. Rip. Demos, the highest subs that I've seen are 97-month resubs. So, worst case, you're off by 1. I had a 97-month resub. 96 and 97-month resubs are people that subscribed to this stream in April of 2015. April 11th, 2015, if you want to be technical. But, yeah, I think you're okay. Maybe you're 1 month off. Yep. I'm sure you mentioned it, but I just got here. Thoughts on the Terranar news? I think it's an interesting choice. Vulcan mentioned something about that. I'm out of the loop. What losers sub then? Oh, jeez. Chief, what's going on, buddy? Chief, you'll appreciate this. Look what I got in the mail today. Oh. Here. Look at the welds. That's pretty damn good welding. Whoever made this did a pretty good job. Look at that. That's pretty good for the MIG welder. Who made them? This is off a Summit, Mile. These are Summit. They kind of beat it up over here on the collector, but these are nice. And you know, the other thing is, I'm not saying that I can do any better, but there is some contamination right there. See the rust spot in the middle of the weld? There's contamination there. Didn't have the gas flow. Didn't have the gas flow right. Yeah, see that? It looks like Jupiter. Can you guys see that spot right there? See it in the middle of the shiny spot? A little bit of contamination, but once again, I can't do any better. Is it custom? No, this was made in a jig. The Summit makes a lot of these. It's not custom. But it is still nice. Very good. And it has the 2.5 collector that I'm looking for. Chief, the ones that are on the truck right now have a 54 mil diameter, and I need 57. So this has the right one, which is sweet. And these things, just the straight metal looks kind of cool. So the metals are the same? Yeah, that's all mild. Well, yeah, mild steel, fellas, right? What size are those primaries? 1 3/4? 1 3/4 primaries? They're nice, dude. These are nice. They're really nice for the price, dude. I paid $200 for these, for the pair and the collector. They're wicked for what they are. Like, this is fine. This will work great. You know, I might get the grinding wheel and just maybe hit that a little bit. But then again, I don't know what I'm doing, so I probably shouldn't touch it. Wise words if you're working on cars. If you don't know what it does, there's no undo button. This would be the Terran news. Okay, I'll check it out. I don't know about cars much. Is this a manifold? Oh, sure, dude. This is an exhaust header. It's not an exhaust manifold. What's the difference? So a manifold, here, I will show you the difference right now. Okay, so a manifold does this. So you have 1, 2, 3. So these are exhaust ports. They are thermal exhaust ports, right? Okay, so a manifold distributes like this. Right? That's a manifold. Okay? Now that's fine. Most stock vehicles have a manifold like this. I'll draw it a little bit better than that. The manifold goes down like that, and then it has 1, 2, and 3. And then there's just a bunch of junctions like that. Okay? A header does this. And then that piece right there is the collector. See how there's 4 pipes that go into one down here? This is a 4-into-1 exhaust header. That's the difference between a manifold and a header. KSP patch notes are here. Sweet. So yeah, the main reason why, why does the manufacturer use a manifold? And why use a header over a manifold? Doom, it's all about aerodynamics inside of that engine. Okay, so let's think about this in the context of rockets. I see the patch notes, guys, and I see the Terran stuff. I'll get to it in a moment. Think about this. The aerodynamics inside of the engine is a big deal. You really don't want to make any drag inside of the engine. It's that simple. So choke points are huge. That's a big one. Bottlenecks in the airflow, intake and exhaust, so pre and post combustion, that's really a big deal. You really need to worry about the aerodynamics because, if you know a little bit about aero, what does air not like doing? Anytime air is flowing through something, what does it not like doing? You think like a plane flying. What does it not like doing? Air doesn't like to turn. It really doesn't like to turn. Air likes to flow in one direction. That's why the wind blows in one direction. The wind can blow in multiple directions, I understand. But when the wind is actually blowing, it usually goes in one direction, right? Air doesn't like to turn. So why would the factory use a manifold? They use a manifold because they're easier to make. They're easier to make than that. And the name of the game is try to make it as cheap as, trying to make it as inexpensive as possible and trying to, like a long time ago, like 30 years ago, and trying to make it as inexpensive as possible now are two different things. But tornadoes and hurricanes turn. Well, Driados, what is a tornado but two airflows going by each other? Straight airflows, straight laminar flow going by each other and getting stuck. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Patches live, 25.4 file change. Jeez. Oh, okay, Raldo. Yep. I might be way off here, but why is the straight pipe exhaust? Why does the straight pipe exhaust up performance? Because then there's less bottlenecks? So, that's another wicked good question, actually. So if you look, these are all different lengths. See they're all different, right? There's a reason why the collector's over here. Basically, every time the exhaust valve opens, it sends a pulse down the exhaust. It sends a pulse of air, exhaust air, down the exhaust. And ideally, you want, because the thing is going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You ideally want them to all merge at the same time. Now, there are equal length headers that can help, but basically you don't want a pulse you don't want to send air pulses down the exhaust because that screws with, I mean, everybody has their own ideas about how back pressure works, but long story short, think about it like a traffic jam almost, right? You kind of, what's a good way to say it? It really depends on what you're doing. It's really, I haven't really brushed up on a good way to explain this. Long story short, dude, you don't want to impede exhaust flow, and the pulses that this sends down, you want to basically take the and kind of merge that into one flow going out the exhaust. That's the right way to say it. There are ways to do it. Right? Now, think about the manifold. With the manifold, if you have 1 going into 2, 2 to 1 going into 3, 1, 2, and 3 going into 4, you're going to get traffic, so to speak. Right? It's going to, because the pulse waves will kind of hit each other almost. Like, that's not really, I'm not using the right terms to explain it, dude, but that's the idea. You don't want to create a traffic jam in your exhaust. Exactly, Chief. That's the better way to say it. That's the more technical way of saying it. Can you explain what a block hugger and a long pipe means? Okay. So there's different types of headers. There's long tube headers, and there's block huggers, and then there's shorties. Block huggers are a type of shorty. What does a block hugger do? It's a low profile header. So once again, engineering names. Block hugger headers, and here's actually one on a 302. They're compact. They're a very compact design. So you're trading something here. You ideally want a long tube header because the longer that pulse goes down the tube, the longer that tube is, the better traffic flow you get in the exhaust, right? So these guys, I'm swapping performance for compactness, basically. The reason why is because in my truck, so that's actually an older car, so this will work. In my truck, the steering box is right here. So the steering wheel comes down on the driver's side, obviously. And I have a power steering box from a Toyota Hilux right there because I wanted a truck from the 50s with power steering. So I have the power steering box there, so I have a low profile. I need to keep a low profile with the headers. That's it. So block huggers are basically low profile like an exhaust manifold. That's an exhaust manifold for a 302. I have a set of those actually sitting in the garage that I took off of the truck. That's a 2-piece long tube. That's race car right there. That's real race car stuff. The long tube headers, like I said, the longer that pulse can go down the tube, the longer time it has to go down the tube, the better flow you're going to get. Think of it like if we're playing cities, for instance, right? And you have 4 on-ramps that merge onto a highway, right? The longer the ramp is, the more time you have to merge. Does that make any sense? It kind of there are way more technical ways to explain this, but that's probably the simplest one that I can think of off the top of my head, and that's probably not the best, but did your headers arrive yet? Yes, they did. The patch notes are out. Yep. So, yeah, that's the short one. The manifold restricts air pretty bad because, once again, it's about getting the air to flow. The faster you can flow the air through the engine, the better. Think about it like this. Okay, gasoline engines, internal combustion engines are using liquid fuel in the form of gasoline, and their oxidizer is atmosphere. So you have some challenges associated. You have some challenges here. Well, what are the challenges? Well, one of your ingredients for combustion is air. All right, so liquid is fairly easy to move around because of incompressibility. Air is a little bit different, right? Air is compressible. So that opens up cars to be able to, for like forced induction, like turbos and stuff. But you have to basically meter it correctly so your air and fuel stay stoichiometric to each other. And creating drag in the intake manifold means if you or drag anywhere in the design will slow that down. And on a modern car, the car will just deliver less fuel because the computer senses that the airflow is bad, or it's just tuned that way. But yeah, it's all about airflow and aerodynamics inside of the engine. Because think about it. Think about what the air is doing. Remember, I told you, air doesn't like to turn. So air is going in through an intake valve, right? And down to the piston. And then the piston comes up and it basically the air does a 180-degree turn and then blows up and then does another 180-degree turn. And then the piston goes up and shoots it out the exhaust. You make a lot of drag in there, believe it or not. Yeah, make a lot of drag. Yeah, the people have been trying to figure that one out. Find a way to make the airflow over the piston, especially with the explosion. We've been trying to figure out ways to make that better for a long time. I need to take more photos of the 350 for EJ to geek out. Yes, you absolutely do. Tigris, I didn't see it the other day. You have a solid front axle, right? I want to swap mine to a solid and convert it to 4x4. Because mine's 4x2 right now. It's basically a camper special. Yeah, Dana 60. Oh, nice. See, I have the heavy-duty frame because that F-250, it's an HD, so that means it's literally... That was Ford's way of saying that it's made out of spare parts. We can make it better by changing the shape of the piston head. Yeah, exactly. Some piston heads actually look like a bowl, like on a diesel. Because think about it. Think about an explosion. An explosion, a combustion, so deflagration will blow up in a sphere, right? It blows up in a sphere. So having the piston actually be concave actually helps with, like, you can actually get more of that power of the explosion pushing down on the piston. Last of the Kingpin 60s too, no ball joints. Oh, I'm a little jelly. I want, a 60 up front, dude. Yeah, so like here, I'll show you guys something cool. So if we look at, I mean, it is a diesel, but it's the same idea. If you look at Cummins pistons on a 6BT, so this is a diesel motor that they put in, that Cummins, an aftermarket company, or not aftermarket, an engine supplier for automobiles.
Discovery.
You guys want to see something wild? Look at this. Look at the piston. That's a 6BT piston. Weird, huh? Look at that. The piston is trying to contour the explosion. It's basically an imprint of what the explosion would look like on the piston. Crazy, huh? Hey, sup? 14-month resub. That's something I want to do to your Datsun. Make it 4x4. I mean, Dama, good luck finding a Datsun solid front axle. I would say go find something from a Jeep. Go find like a Jeep YJ front axle and use that. Putting this here so you don't have to search for it for yourself. All right, cool. Let's do more space news, and I know you guys are jonesing for the patch notes, but yeah, tomorrow we'll work on all this. Okie dokie. Tomorrow's gonna be a long stream. I'm basically gonna start at 8:15 and go all the way. Oh boy. Yeah, tonight might be a shorter stream just because tomorrow is gonna suck. Patch is extremely stable thus far. All right, cool. Cool. Maybe you could take the Rubicon front axle. It was totaled last week. What year Jeep, real? What year Jeep? That sucks that you crashed it, dude. It's a 2010. It's a JK. That sucks, dude. Love that thing. Yeah, it's hard to say goodbye, man. I understand that we shouldn't put value on inanimate objects, but I just don't think about it that way. You know what I mean? That's your baby. You take care of it. You know, like I'm very much Hank Hill when it comes to freaking automobiles. Well, I tell you what, boy, you take care of that truck, and the truck will take care of you. Make sure there's no damn water in the exhaust. Boomer alert. 95, if valuing your stuff and making sure it lasts a long time is boomer stuff, then yeah, you're probably right. It's okay. You're young. You can be naive right now. But guess what? Boomerism is inevitable, boy. I tell you what, eventually everyone ends up like this. Oh, nice, Dama. Because we could connect with the mechanical things. Artemis 1 was like seeing a friend finally accomplish what they had worked on for many years. I mean, guys, I personally, I think this is just kind of a mantra of mine, but dudes, anytime you build something, anytime you make something, you just imparted a part of yourself onto that piece of equipment. So the truck, for instance, I worked on the truck. I'm leaving my mark on the truck, so I imparted part of myself, part of what I represent as a person onto that vehicle, right? And this is kind of like super spiritual, and I get it. Like, part of that vehicle is we are merging. You know what I mean? All the people that put that thing together, part of them are on it, you know? Like, your car took thousands of people to make. Thousands. You know? All those people put a little bit of themselves into that vehicle. Not like that, you weirdos. You know? So, it's important to understand that, you know? It helps it kind of keep it into perspective, man. You know, it's such a crazy time of convenience right now, right? Like I can get anything I want. I had these freaking headers shipped to my house in a day. They were airmailed from Ohio. Like, Ohio is not near here, and yet it was here in 48 hours. That's pretty cool. That's pretty neat. I think it would be a disservice to not understand how that got here so fast, you know? Every machine has a soul. It's made of the people who built it. Exactly. Mm-hmm. I felt like that with your Jeep. She was your baby. Wanted to keep it for many more years. So fix it, Real. Fix it. There's plenty of Jeeps out there. You can find parts. No problem. Yeah, actually, they showed up. It has the right collector on the end. You priced it out? Fix it, dude. You know, Jeremy Clarkson put this, he said this on Top Gear once, and, you know, I don't mean to parrot what he said, but it's true, you know. You don't trade in your wife, you know what I mean? Oh, the mileage is high. No, you don't trade in your wife. You love your wife unconditionally, or your partner, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say? You love them unconditionally. Even if there's a problem, you keep going. I may or may not look at cars like that too. Don't get me wrong. I don't love a piece of metal in the same way that I love Bremo, you know what I mean? But it's the same idea. Old video, your sleeper turbo wagon. Oh, that's nice. Dude, I love wagons. I love wagons, man. They don't make wagons over here, dude. Nothing. We got rid of all of them. That's dope. Yeah, that's dope. That's awesome. Get away from the exhaust pipe. The evil minivan killed the station wagon. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that's how I look at stuff, man. Like, there's a little bit of every person that worked on that thing. You impart a little bit of yourself onto it. Like, sorry, I don't mean to get like super freaking real, but anyway, let's see what we got here from Relativity. Terran R newly released product update. The next generation reusable 3D printed rocket. It's a... Whoa. Yeah, Coolio. I love the blow-offs. That's awesome. Two-stage, 270-foot tall rocket with an 18-foot diameter. Oh. Oh. That's 5.5 meters. Oh. And about, what is that? What's 270? 90 meters? No, 80 meters tall, something like that. So let's go 270 divided by 3.3. Yeah, 81 meter. Yeah, 5.4 core diameter. Dude, that's Delta 4 big. All right. 81 meter. That's tall, dude. 5 meter payload fairing, sending payloads into Leo, Mio, and Geo and beyond. 23,500 kilogram to Leo, downrange landing. 5,500 to GTO, downrange landing. 33.5 max payload to Leo in an expendable configuration. So did they nix the, I'm talking about the core diameter, Vulcan, but yeah, no, it's way taller. Yeah. They also released an update with the GLHF failure. Alright. Terran 1 is dead now. It's interesting, fellas, how everyone starts with a small rocket and then says we have to go bigger. Rocket Lab's done that. SpaceX obviously was the first one to do that, right? I mean, you could make the argument that that's what NASA did in the 60s. They started with a Redstone rocket, and then they were like, nah, that's not good enough. And they went all the way up to the Saturn V. Saturn V could launch a Redstone rocket into space easily, fully fueled, easily. Just for thought, food for thought there. It's weird how everybody kind of follows that same trend. But on the flip side of that, you know, they build a small rocket first and then go from there. The flip side, so I know what what logically what we're gonna think. Like, so if that's the case, why don't you just start by building a bigger rocket? That's what Blue Origin's doing. And that's taken a considerable amount of time. Interesting, right? It's almost like you have to build that small rocket. It's like a rite of passage, you know? I think that's kind of cool. The real difficulty is not go bankrupt. Yep, net 2026 though. Terran 1 is dead. Here's the press release. Got it. Technically, they started by building an upper stage test article. I still think what New Shepard can do, despite it looking like a weenie, is amazing. It is an amazing piece of kit for it's a deep throttle Hydrolox rocket. That's pretty neat. Okay, relativity. Let's see. Through the design, development, production, testing, and launch of Terran 1, relativity has proved a major hypothesis. Okay, yep. 3D printed rockets. They work. All right, next page. Stage 2 atmospheric entry. Oh, very nice. All right. Amazing kit that hasn't flown in 8 months, by the way. So, Bauxy, what happened with New Shepard, I'll get back into relativity in a second. What happened with New Shepard is they basically changed a configuration on the engine, on the B3, during an operational mission, and it failed. Go figure. I can tell you other times in spaceflight history where, you know, the engineered system is fine, but it turns out that if you go and introduce something different into the formula, something that shouldn't have been there in the first place, like launching SRBs in the cold, it's almost like it doesn't do what you want it to do. Interesting concept. Then just go back to the older configuration. That's pretty much what they're going to do. The problem is that that is a human-rated FAA certified vehicle that now you got Rule 8 involved. Have fun with that. Have fun with that, bruh. Okay, stage 2 anomaly. Here we go. Following stage separation at T plus 163 seconds, stage 2 igniter valves were commanded on at T plus 166 into flight, with igniter performance appearing normal. Approximately 168 seconds into the flight, the Aeon vacuum engine telemetry diverged from expectations and the engine did not reach full thrust. There is investigation underway, but these are our preliminary findings on the root cause. When the engine main valves were commanded to open, they opened slower than expected, which impacted the pressures in the system and the timing of propellant reaching the thrust chamber assembly and gas generator during the start sequence. When spin start power was applied to the turbines, the fuel pump generated pressure as expected, but the oxygen pump did not. Yep. That was pretty much consistent with what we saw. It definitely didn't get enough oxidizer. Which also impacted pressure and timing of the propellant reaching the thrust chamber assembly and gas generator during the start sequence. The data from the oxygen pump is consistent with a vapor bubble being present at pump inlet. Yep. Ullage ingestation into the gas generator. Yeah. Yep. It's air starting, man. Pain in the butt, dude. Yep. They let it run. It ended up going super fuel rich and shutting off. Yep. Basically the fuel going in, the LNG going in to the thrust chamber because of the lack of oxidizer basically extinguished the flame. Yeah. And that's an important thing to understand. Rocket fuel is super flammable when you combine it with an oxidizer. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you should go throw a match into a jug of rocket fuel. That's a really bad idea. Don't do that because most likely the vapors from the fuel will light on fire. But if you go look on YouTube, I wouldn't suggest ever doing this, but if you go on YouTube, you know, there's trained professionals on there. You can throw a match into a jug of gasoline and it won't, if there's no oxidizer, it's not going to do anything. The match will just get put out because it's liquid. Now, once again, I cannot stress this enough. Do not try this. Don't do that. Okay? Because the match on the way down will most likely ignite the vapors, and then you get a nice flamethrower. And you don't want to be on the receiving end of a flamethrower. That's a bad idea. Okay? Don't do that. I'm going to go try it now. Please. Don't do that. Ever. It's a nice experiment for kids. Yeah, oh yeah. Fun for the whole family if you like going to the emergency room with your family. It's a group activity. It's a bonding experience. If flamethrower is bad, okay? If the flamethrower is bad, you shouldn't be on the receiving end of flamethrower. Okay? Okay. The cigarette into the fuel is one of my favorite Mythbusters. Yeah. The fuel actually is not flammable. It's the vapors that are flammable. So in the case of relativity here, the fuel actually extinguished the flame because there was no oxidizer because you're in space. Funny story. So, let's see. Due to off-nominal propellant pressure and timing, the gas generator did not light and the engine didn't reach full power. Okay. Despite not reaching full power, the vehicle demonstrated effective control performance via engine gimmeling in the reaction control system. At 191 seconds, Stage 2 reached space by crossing the 100-kilometer Kármán line, and continued to gain elevation, coasting up to 134. 134-kilometer ballistic apogee on your first stage is actually, yeah, that's good, man. That's real good. Perfect. Amber zone was called when the second stage did not ignite, which occurred approximately T plus 170. MFCO sent the arm MFCO sent the arm terminate command functions at T plus 415, which was accomplished in full compliance with the mission rules. Initial data review indicates that the flight termination system performed nominally. I'm reading too fast. Stage 1 fell into its designated disposal area, and Stage 2 fell into the same area. No injuries and impacts to public safety were damaged or reported. Okay, so a little bit on this. There's this thing that happens when you stage. It's not like Kerbal where you just stage it and you can just light the rocket engine, all right? So propellant settling is really, really important. Okay, now what's propellant settling? What does it do? Well, the engine on Terran 1 is designed to have two things go into it. Liquid fuel, so liquefied natural gas, which is a combination of methane, butane, and that's a combination of propane in there, boy. They got some dang nice propane and propane accessories, and liquid oxygen. If the engine receives anything else aside from LNG and LOX, the engine doesn't work. It's like pouring water into a car engine. It doesn't do good. Now, in this particular case, it looks like the valves didn't open quick enough. They said that the oxidizer valves didn't open quick enough, which means that when the rocket engine tried to turn on and it tried to pull, the gas generator tried to pull the liquid oxygen from the fuel tank, it ended up pulling gaseous oxygen into the combustion chamber, which gases are less dense than liquids, so that would make you go fuel rich, and the fuel would literally extinguish the flame. Pretty straightforward stuff. Now, the valve's not opening quick enough. I'm not entirely sure, like, armchair rocket scientist EJ part. I'm not entirely sure that is, like, the root cause. I mean, even if the valves did open, you'd eventually get locks into the engine, and it might command might give you a hard start scenario, but it would still turn on. I'm guessing that the valve, even though the valves open, the timing of the valves not opening correctly meant that the propellants couldn't get settled fast enough, and the engine ended up ingesting gaseous oxygen instead of liquid oxygen, which sucks because that's a simple thing to fix. I guarantee you, if Relativity had another Terran 1 teed up and launched it, it would be fine. It would make it easily would make it. That's just an auto sequencer timing thing with the valves. That's a really simple thing to fix. It's always something stupid like that, like your valves open like 3 milliseconds too early or something. It's always something dumb. These failures always happen because of like one tiny little thing like that. The KSP2 patch is already out. Yes, Sternin. Hard to test, easy to fix. Yeah, I mean, and this is something about rocket science, dudes. You learn the best by failing. That's what everybody says. And it's true. Ideally, you want to fail on the test stands where it's an induced failure, right? Similar to like what happened with ULA, even though that was not induced. Like the Centaur popped on the test stand the other day. Yeah. You learn the best from failures like this, dudes. Yeah, you learn the best. Nothing replaces flight data. Nothing does, even if it's a failure. That data is invaluable. Like, think about it like this. That data in itself is not particularly anything new. Your valves didn't open fast enough, and your motor, the A-on-R engine, ended up ingesting oxidizer. I know that. Anybody that knows a little bit about rockets knows why it failed, right? So the telemetry itself isn't very telling. What's telling is the telemetry teaching your engineers about how to do this. That's the important part. All the people that work at Relativity, learning and understanding this failure and correcting it for the next time. This failure is inadvertently putting equity into your workforce. Now, what does that mean? Basically, your engineers are getting smarter. That's it. That's what it is. Even the failure telemetry from a rocket is still invaluable it's an invaluable asset to the company. And when I mean it's an asset to the company, I mean that failure data will teach your engineers to be better engineers so the company makes more money. Does that make sense? Not a high enough ramp rate on the cam. It's always something dumb, Hellfish. Every time, it's always something stupid. Every freaking time, man. It's always something dumb like that. It's always a Michael Bolton. I always screw up some mundane detail. You know. The question winds up being, what caused the slow valve opening? Did it undervolt? Did the vacuum vaporize? Well, Aqualux, I think the valves. I mean, that could be 1,000 different things, dude. It could be just an autosequencer parameter. In fact, how they're describing it describes that they just... Here, let's see. When the main engine valves were commanded to open, they opened slower than expected, which impacted the pressures in the system and the timing of propellant reaching the thrust chamber assembly. Okay, so here's the thing. Here's the thing about that, all right? Here's the thing about that. The valve assembly, Relativity tested their second stages, okay? They tested their second stages. We saw them. They had plenty of footage of the A-on-R firing and the second stage, if I'm remembering right. I'm pretty sure. So, unless they never did an integrated stage test and static fire on the ground, which I'm pretty damn sure that they did. I actually been out of the loop, so I'm pretty sure they did, right? Unless they didn't do that, right? This behavior didn't manage. So, okay, if they, let me put it to you like this. If they did test on the test stand and this behavior didn't happen, then something about, so what's the difference between this stage and the one that they tested on the test stand? Heck, it might even be the same stage for all we know. Maybe they did a full duration fire with the stage, right? So what's the difference? Well, the difference is that this stage was air started on the top of a first stage and not on a test stand.
Discovery, go at throttle.
So that tells me, right, the main engine valves were commanded, they opened slower than expected, which tells me that there's something that they didn't catch on the test stand, right? The valves opened fine when the engine was tested down here, but not up there. So that's why I don't really understand why the valves opened a little bit slower than expected. You'd think that's something that they would catch in testing, but if it isn't, then there's something else. There's a difference here. What's the difference? Well, the difference is, like I said, this one is flying. So what would make the valves open? Like, what about this stage being yeeted off the first stage and getting ready to air start? The conditions are extremely dynamic compared to the test stand, right? So what dynamic condition would cause your valves to open slower? Seriously, which one? Acceleration of gravity? Maybe? Because they're in microgravity. Because it's free falling when the engine's not firing. We know that because it free fell and impacted the ocean. Like 400 seconds later. So this is something, and this is what I mean about invaluable testing data. This is something that they really, Relativity's a new company, okay? So if they had launched like 30 Terran 1s before this and then encountered this problem, I would say that that's a manufacturing defect, right? But that's not the case. So this tells me that it's just inexperience at this point. Not to say that Relativity is a bad company because they're inexperienced. I'm saying they're inexperienced because this is their first time trying to launch something into space. It's difficult. The valve timing could have been off by a millisecond. It could have been an autosequencer parameter. But an autosequencer parameter like that would have shown in testing. It would have shown up in testing. It would have shown up in integrated flight tests on the ground. So that tells me that it's the air start condition. So that means my mind is going towards unequal pressure on either side of the valve. Unequal pressure. So propellant settling. Because the valve is designed to open and close with liquid on both sides, right? That tells me that there was a semi-gaseous state on either side of that valve. Or a liquid on one side and gas on the other. So maybe when the valve opened, it didn't open fast enough because there's air bubbles in there because improper ullage pressure, maybe. It could be a bunch of different things. But then again, improper ullage pressure would have showed up. It's propellant settling, dude. I'm pretty damn sure. Propellant settling. Think about it, because when the second stage, right, this is a water bottle, I know. So when the second stage detaches, right, you have to get all the liquid down to the bottom. The pickups are on the bottom of the tank for the rocket engine. The pickups are inside of the tank, and then it goes through a set of valves, and then it goes into the gas generator. I mean, it's a little more complicated than that, but that's the general idea. Now, when your stage is in free fall, right? When your stage is in free fall, the water or any propellant has a little bit of surface tension, right? And it'll just like to ball up. We've seen this picture before with SpaceX, actually. And it's really shame that they stopped showing this. But check this out. You guys want to see what LOX does during staging? Look at this. So watch this. This was the CRS-5 mission way back in the day. Stage separation confirmed. Wow. So watch this. See that? Did you see it right there? It was only for a second. Watch the left side of the screen. This is inside. See? Look what happens during staging. See that? All the propellant, because of that, the engine stopping, just goes forward, and it goes forward in just balls of LOX everywhere. That's what it looks like when you're under acceleration, right? So when the second stage is firing, you could see the LOX being drained. There's your pickup down the bottom, and it's just like draining a swimming pool, basically. But a rocket fluid impeller could drain a swimming pool in like very quickly. I mean, it depends on the rocket motor. But see, here's what happens at second stage engine cutoff. Here, check this out. You see how nice and uniform the LOX is here? Now watch what happens when they shut the stage off. Yeet! See that? The fuel is the balls. Yep. Look at that. See? That's what happens. And if you try to turn the rocket engine on with this happening inside of your second stage LOX tank, yeah, your engine's going to shut off because you're ingesting gaseous oxygen. And in some cases, you might even be ingesting helium. Because remember, see these tanks right here that are inside of the fuel tank? These are composite overwrap pressure vessels. They're ullage PVs, all right? So what are those for? Those are for pumping helium inside of the tank. Now, why helium? Low mass. Low mass. So as the liquid oxygen drains out of the tank, these pressure vessels are commanded to open up. And they're commanded to vent helium into the second stage to replace the liquid oxygen. Now, if you've ever had like a jug of water, right? And you go to pour it out, what happens? Vloomp, 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 right? Because gas needs to go in and water's trying to go out. So you get this bloop, 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 right? Pain in the butt. Gets water everywhere. Really annoying. Now, when you're pouring that out, half of the bottleneck, right, is used to flow water out, and water will get in there for a second, and then the jug will kind of implode a little bit, and then it'll go back out, giving you that blug, blug, blug noise, right? That. You don't want that happening with a rocket motor or with a rocket fuel tank. So to avoid the blub, blub, blub thing, right, you could punch a hole in the top, right? And it would work for a little while until you get out of the atmosphere, until there's no gas to replace that liquid oxygen draining out of the stage, right? And then you got a problem because your second stage will implode. You ever see that Mythbusters where they take the tanker train car and they implode it? Yeah, it'll do that. Rocket engines can create a lot of siphoning forces. So those ullage tanks inside of Falcon 9, and most rockets do this, by the way. Those ullage tanks, those helium pressure vessels right there, are pumping helium gas into the tank to keep the pressure the same, and that helps keep the liquid down. Now, once again, if you're just free floating, this is what happens to your propellant. It just sloshes and it goes everywhere like that. That's no good. Right? Because that means there's helium gas floating around in here too. And if you try to turn on your rocket engine and if your rocket engine ingests helium, you basically lose. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Yeah, you basically lose. It won't start. The reason why is because helium is pretty. It's an inert gas for the most part. It doesn't react with much. A lot of gases over here on the periodic table don't react well to anything. Not everything here, Mr. Ryan, reacts well to bullets. Helium sucks at burning. Helium sucks at everything. Dude. Actually, it doesn't suck at everything. Helium's non-reactive. It's inert, and that's actually one of the things that makes it really, really cool for certain applications. This is why it's really rare on Earth comparatively to like salt or something, right? Down here, salt is a way of life. So the thing about helium is that it's super good. I mean, it's super low mass, right? It's really low mass. It's hydrogen's cousin, distant cousin, but it's hydrogen's cousin, which is kind of funny. Really low mass, so super light, right? And it's super conductive of heat. Yeah, super conductive of heat. Also, if you inhale it, the voice stands up starting to talk like this. This is good. I love ingesting helium. It's great. So, yeah, some important things to understand. If I had to guess, they ingested some ullage propellants. The valve wasn't back pressurized correctly because the propellants didn't settle right. So the valve opened slow because it's supposed to have locks on one side and it had helium instead. Which also would explain why the thing basically just went and then it shut off. But what do I know? I don't know. Just an armchair engineer over here. You did it without helium. Oh, I have helium ullage tanks inside. You know, synths. What do you want? Patch. Guys, does people just saying patch, and then linking the patch notes for Kerbal? What do you think they mean? What do you... Yeah, Aqualex pretty much. I'd say they didn't settle the propellants right, which would explain why the valves did what they did. Maybe I have a hole in my trousers. Maybe we need to patch it. Huh. Read the dang patch notes already. Say please. Say please, jackass. Okay, you said please. Read me a bedtime story. Stimpy, read it yourself! Please? Alright, cool. I was gonna do it anyway. I just wanted to see if you would do that. What's that, John? You forgot to say please. Woo! Rocket Lab's CubeSat launches moved from Virginia to New Zealand. This change is help satellites reach orbit in time for American 2023 hurricane season. Oh, you think I would... No, that's... Oh, that's good. Yep. This changes help satellites reach orbit in time for North American 2023 hurricane season. That's how mafia work. Is that a NASA patch on your hat, or are you excited to space? How dare you? Anyway. I don't think they would have such a large oversight of not settling the fuel enough. I think it's more subtle, like vacuum causing some weird drag in the bearings due to the external pressure differential. Yeah, but Aqualux, how do you know how their engine works? I form my hypothesis based off of what I know about physics. I don't know how the AONR engine works. I don't know the intricacies to that motor, dude. You're waging an awful lot on a motor you know nothing about. And I'm not saying that I know anything more, but I do understand the basic physics behind it, which is why... I mean, I'm not saying you don't either, but that's oddly specific for someone who doesn't know anything about an Aeon engine. And I'm not trying to be a jerk. It's just some food for thought, you know? Why use more word when few do trick? Okay, let's see. KSB2 1.2 patch notes. I'll switch over to Kerbal now.